Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen, as always. And tonight I thought we'd do a pie. Why not? And this pie came from one of our neighbors here online in our community, and it's called a Dixie Pie. It's similar to the Kentucky Derby pie with a considerable amount of changes. The Derby pie was more of a pecan pie style pie. This one involves walnuts. It does have chocolate chips, but it involves walnuts, and some of the ingredients are a little different, and I think that's awesome. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if this is your first video, I hope you get something out of this video. Try some of our others. If you are returning or a new subscriber, thank you. The fact that we're growing in subscribers, our neighborhood is getting bigger all the time, tells me that I'm doing something right, at least on this end. And you guys watching, it's just helping us grow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, as always. On a quick note, if you are new to my channel, or you're just catching this video in your feed, I do talk. The reason why I talk, and this is really quick, and if you ever want to skip through this intro, it's usually about 3 minutes long, 2.5, 3 minutes long, and you can just go to that mark, or if you, I can't remember what the tab is down below me, but it'll bring up the sections of my video, and you can just skip to that section, where we start baking. But the basis of my channel is on communication. When I started doing baking and cooking, it was also to document me. So that way when, if and when the time comes that I pass, future generations will get to know me, of my family, along with us cooking and baking together. I want to install that, our sense of morals and values onto future generations of my family, and they get to know me more than just a name. So that being said, I just wanted to get that out there because I've had a few comments over the last week that said, hey, maybe a little less talking, and just get to the point. But that is the point of my channel. So like I said, you can always skip through this, and that's okay. I don't mind. I leave the ingredients list down below, and we can just simply bake together. You can write down the recipe, or however that may work. Eventually I'll have a website where you can probably just get the recipe from, print it out. But until that time comes, that's kind of what my channel is about. That being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share now that I've just ranted about things. That does get us out, and the algorithms allow us to grow. I do keep my videos as short as possible, on that same note. So before we get down to the counter, I do give all my measurements and cups, tablespoons, teaspoons. We also do grams, that way everybody can play along. Comments are always welcome. The comments that I received, they were respectful, by all means, and we responded respectfully back. But I just really wanted to let you know that kind of was eating at me a little bit, and because that is the basis of my channel. If you're new, or you just want to spend some time cooking with me, you have that option. So anyhow, let's get down to the counter and start making this Dixie pie. Alright, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so down here at the counter, first thing I did was I started preheating my oven at 350 degrees. That way it's nice and warm and has cycled a couple times. Things you will need for this is just simply a bowl, a whisk, and a spatula or spoon of some sort. This has just a handful of ingredients, and one of them's optional, and I'm going to take that option. Sorry, I got to sneeze. I can feel it coming on, so if I sneeze, excuse me. The first thing I got, and all we need is a medium-sized bowl, and here it comes. Maybe not. Okay, we're good. I got a medium-sized bowl, and in this medium bowl I've got 3 large eggs. 150 grams worth of eggs. I just beat them up lightly. I didn't sit here and scramble them. I just beat them up lightly, let them melt, and they are at room temperature. Excuse me. And to this, I am going to add 1 cup of syrup, corn syrup. Now, because I'm using milk chocolate chips in mine instead of semi-sweet, which the original recipe called for, I have half a cup of light and a half a cup of dark corn syrup in here, and it's 1 cup, 250 milliliters. And I'm just going to put that in. And then to that, I am going to add 1 very liberal teaspoon. It's actually about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, which is 6 grams. I've got 2 tablespoons, 28 grams of melted butter right here. We're going to put that in. And then we are going to add a half a cup, 110 grams of light brown sugar. And if you're measuring it with a measuring spoon or a measuring cup, you're going to want to lightly pack it. You know, you don't have to smash it down like a heavily packed normal half a cup. And we're going to put that in there. And then we're just going to take our whisk and we're going to whisk this all together. All right, we got that all whisked together. Easy enough. Yeah, didn't even hurt the wrist. We're in good shape. So the last 2 ingredients we need to put in here is, I've got my walnuts. It's 1.5, or it's actually just 1 ingredient we're going to put in here. And that's 1.5 cups or 150 grams of chopped up walnuts. And I toasted my walnuts. You don't have to. But if you do, just when you turn your oven on 350 and it cycles, put them in there. This will be the first thing you want to do. You'll just put them in there on a little pan for, you know, about 4 or 5 minutes until you can start to smell them. That's the oils coming out of them, and that's what it'll give them a more robust flavor. So we're gonna go ahead and put those in, and then we're just gonna fold those in real quick. Well, stir them in real quick, not fold anything. And we've got our batter right there, our filling. So we got that. Now I'm gonna go grab the pie crust real quick, so that way we can fill up the pie crust. I'll be right back in just 1 second. Okay, so I went and got my pie crust. Now, I'm using a homemade pie crust. I just prefer a homemade pie crust. I don't find them that hard to make. We make them all the time, but you most certainly can use a store-bought pie crust. There is no law that says you can't, and you do what works best for you. And remember how I said I had 2 ingredients, and I was like, oh, nope, 1? There was 2. The last thing I want to add to the filling, and this is completely optional, is 1 tablespoon of bourbon. I mean, if you don't drink, then you probably don't have any bourbon in your house, but you don't have to worry about it getting your kids drunk or anything like that. It burns off the alcohol. I'm just looking to get that flavor in there for a couple reasons. A, there's a whole lot of sweetness going on into this pie, and that'll help cut some of that sweetness. So, unless you like a lot of sweetness, but since I'm once again not using semi-sweet chocolate chips in this, I want to go ahead and cut some of that sweetness out, so that way our teeth don't fall out and rot in the process. So I got that in there real quick. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to egg wash this pie crust. I'm not going to do all of it. I'm going to simply do the top and the sides, kind of like we did with the Kentucky Derby cake. That way, it will help it to do. This achieves 2 things. It will help to golden your crust, but it'll also help it to not burn. This pie is going to be in the oven for quite some time, and we don't want it to burn. Now, your other option, if you don't want to use an egg wash, that's absolutely fine. You can use a pie ring, which I'll have one on standby just in case. That way, if it does start to get dark, I can put it on there. And you can put it on right away, and then your crust won't burn that way also. Or if you want to use a wash, use your favorite wash that you usually use, or you can use a little bit of heavy cream, milk. There's like really 1,000,001 possibilities for that. Okay, so we got the egg wash on. We are good. So the next thing we're going to do is I have got 2/3 a cup, 120 grams of this, in this case, milk chocolate chip morsels, only because I don't have any semi-sweet. I'm not sure how that happened, but I don't have any. Now, I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but see how they're different colors? Some are light, some are dark. If you ever find your chocolate looking like that, in your cabinet or whatever, what has happened is they've gotten too warm. These happen to be up above your head in the cabinet, and the heat from where we cook all the time caused some of them to turn white. Now, it doesn't change the flavor. All it does is change the look. So since we're putting this in the bottom of the pie, just like such, it's not going to hurt anything. You know, and I learned that a long time ago running, used to manage a gas station a long time ago, and our air conditioning broke, and a lot of our candy bars turned out like this, and we couldn't sell them. You know, and I may have or may not have tried a couple. It doesn't change the flavor, just the color. So anyhow, we got those on the bottom, 2/3 cup, 120 grams. And now all we gotta do is put our pie filling in on top of it, just like this. I find it very weird. I've never made this before. If you are brand new to my channel or this is your first video, everything I make for the first time together, me and you. I have never made this before. So I have no idea what it tastes like. I have no idea if this is, you know, exactly what it's supposed to look like. I mean, I have some idea what it's supposed to look like. I've seen pictures of it, but it's my first time making this. I want to show you that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So there is our unbaked pie, which already looks really good. And as you can see, it's, you know, looking kind of moist, but that's all right. That's the way it should look. So now what we're gonna do, we'll put this in the oven real quick, and then we'll talk about how long to bake it for. Ooh, that was warm. Okay, we are in the oven. So, how long do we bake this for, Brian? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are going to bake this for 55 to 60 minutes. I'm going to start looking at it at 50 minutes. We are looking for it to be completely set. It's going to form a crust on top, and when that crust on top forms, it should be, you shouldn't have hardly any jiggle in it at all. So I'm going to start checking it at 50 minutes, but I got my timer set for 55. When I come back, we'll take it out of the oven, have a look at it, and I'll let you know for sure if it was 55, 60, 65 in my oven, and your oven will be a little different. So let's get this baked, and when I come back, we'll take a look at it. All right, be right back. Okay, timer just went off, just shut off the oven. So let's go ahead and hopefully we don't need to turn it back on, but let's go ahead and pull her out. See how we are. Oh, now I did end up using my pie ring on that, because after about 35 minutes it started to get a little darker than I like it, but not too shabby. So go ahead. Now what I was talking about, let me bring you in a little bit so you can see what I was talking about there. Whoop. There we are. Perfect. Maybe. Who knows? Alright. There we are. Sorry about that. My camera skills, you'd think after 2 years would be improved, but and they kind of are, but not really. I would love to be able to have somebody come run my camera. But we're going to get that pie ring off of there all the same. And what we were looking for was, see how I shake that and there's not really any jiggle to it at all. It's going to have some jiggle, a little bit of jiggle, because it's still hot. But our crust is nice and golden brown, and we have minimal jiggle. You know, I will say that's called set. And here, I'll tell you what, let's bring it over to you so you can see it. Maybe. But there we are. See how nice golden brown, minimal jiggle, like hardly none at all. So now all we have to do is let that bad boy set, and we're going to let it set for about an hour, hour and a half. I mean, my kitchen's still a little warm. You know, for those of you that are new, you have seen my entire kitchen. About 1.5 feet behind you is the back door, the back wall, and a window. And so, I mean, this is literally the whole thing. But I'm gonna let this cool for about an hour and a half. Then the recipe directions called for let it cool to room temperature and stick it in the fridge until serving. So I'll let it sit in there for maybe about a half hour, and then after that we'll come back and try a piece. All right, see you here in just 1 second. All right, we have let it cool down to room temp. I actually had it in the fridge for a little while, just so we could eat dinner. But now we got our pie done. I think that looks just absolutely gorgeous. And you can see as it cooled, it settled down flat. I think that just is an amazing looking pie, if nothing else. So let's go ahead and get us a piece cut and see how we fared with it. Right. Well, there is what we look like on the inside. No dripping, no leaking, nothing. It's set well. And here is our piece de resistance, so to speak. I think that looks really nice. I didn't do a bad job of cutting it either, really. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, let's give her a shot and see how she tastes. What do you say? I'm kind of excited because it looks good. I know the house smelled amazing while I was baking. You couldn't complain about that, not one bit. Let's give it a shot. Maybe if I can get it on the fork. That is awesome. It's not horribly sweet. I think I like the milk chocolate in it. I think I may just leave the milk chocolate in the recipe instead of the semi-sweet. Although I would like to try it with the semi-sweet just to see what the flavor profile difference is. But that's really, really good. Hands down. Yeah, oh. Side of vanilla ice cream with that. And man, you have got a dessert that is fit for a king. Hands down. That is a great pie. I would recommend giving this one a try. I'm glad this one got thrown at me. Hands down, this was a great suggestion. I truly, truly like this pie. If you do give this a try, let me know. Or if you've had it before, or a variant of it. I saw about 5 different variants of the Dixie Pie online. This was closest to the one that was in the comment for the Kentucky Derby pie. So this is the one I used, and I'm glad I used it. It's a really, really good recipe. So like I said, give this one a try. Let me know if you do. You can leave me a comment down below, or find us on Facebook and let us know then, or there, at Mr. Smith's Kitchen Facebook group, which feel free to stop by, join, share some recipes, stories, whatever you got. It's just a digital way to hang out and communicate. It's a safe space. You know, we don't allow any bad in that group. You know, it's all good stories, food, so on and so forth. So next week for dinner, I'm not real sure quite yet what we're gonna do. But I know it'll be good, you know, or at least not healthy, but filling, you know, as always. But until then, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. It's going to make them feel better. They may need to hear it. It's going to make you feel better to tell them, I guarantee it. And if you make one of these Dixie Pies and share, you're going to have a friend for life. So, I mean, invite your friend over, invite some neighbors over for this. You know, they share this recipe with everybody. It's a great recipe and a good pie. I think you'll make more friends than you'll be able to count with this pie. I guarantee it. So until next week for dinner, I love you, and I'll see you then. Talk to you later. Bye.